Hi, this is Abby,
Hi, everyone. This is Janie.
and welcome to the Her Story, My Story podcast, Conversation from Africa. Welcome back. We're so happy you guys are here. Once again, we are here sitting on Janie's couch, so comfy. I got my cup of coffee. I'm ready to jump into this conversation.
Whatever the conversation may be, right?
Mhm.
As the Most High leads, right?
Indeed.
So I'm here with my sparkling water, fam. We just chilling. I had my coffee much earlier,
Mm.
and I love coffee. It
Mhm.
tastes so good, right?
Mhm.
And but I only can usually I only have it once a day
Mm.
because it makes my what is it, angina
Mhm.
or something makes
Blood
me
pressure. Mhm.
yeah. But I do love the taste of it. So I get
Mhm.
up, have my coffee and everything, and then I kinda have to shut it down.
Mm.
And actually, the way I'm talking, it makes me feel like it's still going through me, like,
Mm.
even though
Mhm. Yep.
even though I had it a while ago. But, the coffee here is great, and
Mhm.
I noticed that in the States, the coffee that I was drinking affected me more, like, in a negative way. Like I said, my heart would beat faster and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And here, I haven't had that experience, but I still limit myself to 1 cup of coffee because I have this really big mug that is like the equivalent of 2 cups already, so I just have that with far too much sugar in it.
Mm.
Oh, I know, I'm the honey lady, but I do put sugar in my coffee.
Oh my goodness. Whoo, the honey lady's eating sugar.
Brown sugar, if that helps.
Okay,
But
sure.
that's the one place I put that's the one place
No bleached
that I
sugar over
don't
here, just
use.
brown, just
Yeah.
regular, straight off the thing.
Yeah, so,
Um,
yeah.
that is so funny though. Yeah, that's what coffee is supposed to do. It's supposed to make your heart beat a little bit faster, make you feel a little bit more alert. And I like that trick, the extra big coffee mug, so you can tell yourself you're only having 1 cup. That's actually a strategy that I've heard other people use. I'm still trying to get myself down to 1 cup a day. You really shouldn't have more than 1 cup a day. This is my second cup.
Okay, okay.
And I do feel it amping me up a little bit, and I do feel the anxiety go up a little bit more. And I think it helps me. I tell myself it's okay because I know it's not real anxiety, it's just coffee.
But I wonder, like, we know that in the States, uh, everything has been uh,
Change,
well, I
infiltrated, poisoned.
yeah, and I think that that may include coffee. Why wouldn't it, right?
I
It's
agree. Yeah.
because when I'm talking about, like, my heart beating fast, I'm talking about not
Palpitations.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saying
Yeah.
kinda dangerous. It felt
Mm.
kinda dangerous. It's alarming. So,
Mm.
but here I have not had that experience, and I don't know if people know that Rwanda has some of the best coffee on
Mhm.
the continent of
Mhm.
Africa. I don't know if it's in the whole world,
Mm.
but Rwanda is well known for its
Mhm.
coffee.
Yeah, they have really good coffee. We get the Gorilla brand.
We do too.
Mhm.
Hi, Gorilla. We just
I know.
shouted y'all out.
Yeah, their coffee is great. We brought a coffee maker from the US and I burnt it out
Oh,
because I didn't
yeah.
plug it in. That's one thing. Okay. I feel like I need to say this because some people think this is common knowledge, and maybe it is, but it wasn't for me. It's something I didn't think of. When if you're traveling, if you're thinking about moving to Africa from America, the power setup is different here. You can't just bring your American appliances and plug it into the wall. Like,
Right.
first of all, and I don't know why I didn't think of it. Jason, my husband was saying, like, we have to get converters. And I'm like, why? And then he was like, we're probably going to want to get a regulator too. And I'm like, okay, is it really that bad? It is. So I
Mhm.
tried to plug in, I had a converter and I tried to plug in my coffee maker, super fancy, beautiful coffee maker. I was so excited. Plugged it into the wrong socket on the converter and it just went boom, like poof, and it just didn't work. And it took everything in me not to cry. Like, I was so sad. Like, I really was like, the feeling in my body, I was like devastation. Like, I know that's sad. I was.
That's sad in itself, yes,
I
but
was like
on some level, I understand.
but it's funny though, because I went on to this, there's this, Facebook group for expats in Rwanda, and, like, I was like, you know, my coffee maker had died, and I wonder if there's anybody that can fix it, and, somebody could. So somebody there's a local here who took my coffee maker and said it was a problem with the motherboard, was able to find a piece, and he fixed it and he brought it back. And I've just been so scared to plug it in. I'm waiting to get a regulator before I actually plug it in again. So right now I've just been using an espresso maker that we purchased here. So every cup of coffee that I have is actually an Americano with like 4 shots of espresso in it. So
I love Americano.
Mm.
I'm coming over.
Yeah. So my caveat is that I am a mom and I have 3 boys, and I'm okay. I'm okay right now. I think eventually, maybe when my kids get a little bit older, I can reason myself to 1 cup of coffee, but that's my
Okay,
goal.
but right now you feel like you need it.
Mm.
I don't have a coffee, maker. I just have my little French press because it's only
Ooh, I
me.
love a good French press.
Yeah, Ben doesn't drink coffee, so
Mm,
and let's talk about this French press situation I'm having.
okay.
Okay. It's I need a glass one, okay? Because
Oh,
I already know that it should have been glass from the start. I
uh-huh,
bought it here in Rwanda, and I
uh,
haven't found a glass one yet. That's not to say there aren't any. But as
huh,
soon as I saw a fresh press, I was like, "Oh, wow." I didn't look to see whether it was totally made out of glass or not. So
mm,
now, um, I think I'm drinking a little bit of plastic.
mm,
So I have to go shopping and get a French press, a
mm,
new one that's glass, and hopefully they have them here. And I'm just saying, this may seem like a small thing, but it's not because we have a lot of microplastics in our bodies.
mhm,
We drink water out of plastic bottles, many of
mhm,
us do.
mhm,
We store our food and many of us store our food in plastic and all that. And I'm against plastic,
mhm,
right? But I have a French press that's encased in plastic. And when I press the top, when I press it down, the coffee starts leaking through the bottom, and that's how I know that, you know,
mm,
this is not good.
mm,
How we got here, I really don't know, but I just maybe that's something somebody needs to know,
I don't know.
like, really,
Yeah. No,
it's
coffee is
important.
important. I don't well, it's important to me. Like, I used to be a coffee barista, back in the States in a couple of different coffee shops. One was a little more, like, homey, the other one was more of like a, you know, corporate franchise that I'm not gonna name. And here, that's one of our dreams, Jay and I, is to start a cafe, because I loved it when I know I had some friends of mine back in the States who used to come stop by all the time because I would just be the only one in the coffee shop making coffee. People would come in, I felt like it was my house. "Hi, how's it going?" Like, I just love that cafe coffee vibe, and I would just my friends would come and say hi, like, some of them wouldn't even come and get coffee, they would just come and say hi, and it was just a nice experience, so that's one of the things I love about cafes is that you can kinda set it up how you want, and I'm hoping here in Africa, my husband and I can share, because I like to bake, so I have, like, some baked goods that I like to share with people, and then my husband is big on food, obviously, like, he's like the cook, he just knows food. So one day it's our dream to, like, open up a coffee shop where people can just come and fellowship, drink coffee, share their love for food, share their love for just the arts. Like, I would love to have, like, an open mic night, people come and they can do poetry, or they can come and play music, or people can come and do comedy. Just I like having a central space where people can come and just join together and fellowship and be connected with one another. And what better to bring people together than like coffee and good food?
That sounds good to me.
Mhm.
I mean, and your baked goods are delicious, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank
I
you.
could definitely I can definitely see, um, a cafe. Now, So one of the things that I would like to say about it, there are many, right?
Mhm.
There are many cafes here.
Mhm.
So how would you differentiate yourself?
Mhm.
Because that's one of the things we kind of talk about a lot around here, like how to do business here. It's not the
Yes.
same. It's
It's
not the
not.
same. Like, and we're still, after even being here for a little over a year, we're still on a learning curve,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, what would you do? Do you think? Do you have any ideas on how you might differentiate yourself from the rest of the cafes that are here?
That's a really good question, and I think about it often. And because a lot of times, like even in the States, going into a quote unquote restaurant business is a really big risk. Because there's a lot of like overhead costs that is involved. You have the building, materials, machines, furniture, all kinds of costs. And, what is gonna set you apart from the cafe down the street, you know? And, so what I'm trying to do right now, when I think about that, is to think about what is it, first of all, what is it that I want in the cafe? Like I just said, like I want it to be a place where people can come and be comfortable and really enjoy each other and experience something new and different. So what are those new and different things that they can experience here, right? So I know like some of the baked goods that I have, you can't really find anywhere else here. So I make a challah style bread. And I've been kind of creative since being here on the continent with it. Because back in the States, a lot of my friends and family have had this bread. My mother taught me how to bake when I was maybe 7, 8 years old. And I really loved baking this specific bread because it was so creative, because it looks like a braid. When you bake it, you're eating this braided bread. And I loved that bread. And I loved it so much that it became a thing I did every year. So back when I was growing up, we celebrated holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas. So those were the so every Thanksgiving we would go over to my Aunt Betsy's house. Shout out to Aunt Betsy. She is like the hostess with the mostest. And so we would always go over to her house. So I would always bake my bread, and everybody would be like, they would call it Abby's bread. So, are you going to bring some bread? Are we going to have some of Abby's bread? And so I would bake it for Thanksgiving and I would bake it for Christmas every single year. So it's just kind of like a thing that I've done. And it's wild to think that here I am on the continent of Africa baking this bread and, sharing it with people here. I love that. And since being here, I've been creative. So I made like a cinnamon roll challah,
Mhm.
which is a huge favorite. And then my favorite is chocolate challah, where it's kind of like it's similar to a croissant, maybe not as fluffy and as buttery, but it's delicious because it's full of chocolate. So and then I bake some cookies to go along with it. So, sorry, this is a long answer to your question, but so you don't see braided bread anywhere else here. So that's something that, people really like and they order that a lot. So that's one thing. But I know that maybe having bread is not the one thing that's gonna bring other people in, so I try to think of other things too. So Jay and I are planning on collaborating, and, he had this whole freeze-dried food storage idea, and he's always creating something new, and he's growing all of this fresh produce. So our idea is to have this fresh produce in the cafe, and people can come and sample the food before they buy it. We plan on having, some jars of already ready to eat stuff on the shelves that people can come and just pick up, tomato sauces, salsa, all those kind of things. And then once we get the freeze dried component up and running, we have the ability to take all the fruits that are grown here, freeze dry them at their peak. Their
Mhm.
flavor and their nutritious
Yes.
value, we can freeze dry it, turn it into a powder, and we can have a whole fresh fruit smoothie bar. So I feel like there's a lot of value in that. And then the component of that community component where people are looking for stuff to do, in the evenings or during the daytime, and they wanna bring their family or their friends, they have something to do, and they can have good food and good drinks and beverages while they're at it.
That sounds really good. And I was thinking about, what you just said about the dried fruit
Mhm.
in jars. I mean, not just for a smoothie, right? You slap a label on that and
Mhm.
have it on the shelf too for
Mhm.
people to buy and
Mhm.
make their own. I
Mhm.
like all of that
Yeah.
because I know that there are of course, I haven't been to every cafe here or anything like that, but I think that would stand out.
Mhm.
I think that would stand out. And also, while you were talking, what came to mind is the great cafes that are already here, like Kivu Noir, for instance. What? Man,
Their coffee is
yeah,
phenomenal.
and their baked goods are too. Like some,
Mhm. Or cookies.
you know,
Whew.
you know
And their
that.
cakes.
Mm, yeah, they have this lemon cake, right?
Yes.
Listen, family, if y'all come to Rwanda, you got to go to Kivu Noir and get some
Mhm.
lemon cake.
You do, you do. You think you got it in the US with that one coffee shop that will not be named, but this lemon cake is fresh.
It is
It's
amazing, yes.
yes.
And, so I'm like, suppose you pitch to them at some point or would until you set up your own space.
Ooh,
And meanwhile,
Jayne.
these classy cafes, because Kivu Noir is classy,
That.
right? Pitch. Get your chala in there.
Get some
Why
bread in
not?
there. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now my wheels are turning. I don't know why I never thought of that.
But yeah, it's girl,
That's
'cause
the other thing too. So that's the other thing as far as like starting a business, and I'm not an expert by any means. I think when I went through college, I have a minor in business management. And that's the extent of like, but I've always been curious about business. And what I've heard is that starting small, like with a cafe especially, like start small and then let it grow. So that's kind of how I like that approach. I like that idea. I can pitch my idea to another cafe, something that they don't have. I'm not competing,
right,
because I
right.
don't know, you don't see challah bread anywhere. Half the people are like, I baked a bunch of bread and I took it to one of the homeschool gatherings. I made challah and they're like, what is challah? Like they just had no idea what it was. And these are expats, right? And even locals, they're like, what is challah? And then they see the bread and the presentation is beautiful.
Mhm.
And then the flavor is great. So
Yeah. So
Hmm.
how did they respond?
Oh, they loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They're
mean,
like, "This
what's
is
not to love?
amazing."
It's
And
delicious.
this one lady went to town. I made some lemon cookies too. She went
Oh,
to
yeah.
town on those cookies.
Mhm. That's why it's good to talk to people you trust, right? Because yeah, trust is huge.
Tell me why, Jamie.
Hmm. Without mentioning any names, you know. Okay, I will start
But
from the
this is an important this is an important topic. I just have to say because I was thinking about that this morning, like, you know, I think people wanna come to Africa, but it's like, "Well, what am I gonna do? And how am
girl,
I gonna do it?"
yes.
So, yes,
Yes.
talking about trust. Let's go there.
Trust. Okay. So, as you know, I am the CEO of the African Bee Company.
Holla.
All right. So, we started the African Bee Company while still living in the States.
Mm.
Packaging is great. I'm not bragging. It just is, right?
It
It
is.
is.
It is the first thing people say, "Wow, that looks
Yeah.
amazing."
And then when you open the package, the honey is pure, it's delicious, it's in glass,
Mhm.
which is highly important, like we talked about
Mhm.
before.
Mhm.
And, so anyway, so it was this company there's this company here who said that they wanted to partner with us,
Mm.
right? And, so, it was very exciting. And, so we're going over there, we're having meeting, maybe we met 3 or 4 times.
Mhm.
And I by the 3rd meeting, I was just like, "Wait a minute, I'm not really seeing where the African bee fits." Like It was kinda strange because the language was changing. Let's say the dialogue was changing.
Okay.
He he wanted to know about my acacia, right? Like, where can he get acacia trees, right?
Acacia tree. Yeah.
Yeah, like, that is something you could research. But anyway, I'm thinking we're going to partner. So I'm sharing my information, right? My beekeeper came and he was sharing some information. We're just trying to, our hearts are open, right? Or were. So since then, a big part of it has been closed off, I'm going to say, like trust, right? That's what we're talking about.
Mhm.
So we went out to up into the mountains to view the property that the man said that he wanted us to be a part of. It was beautiful up there, but frankly, I'm just not that girl. I don't ever want to go up there again.
Right.
But because it was quite scary.
Mhm.
Our beekeeper met us there. And so the plan was to look at different parcels of land that
Mhm.
this company already owns,
Mhm.
and for the beekeeper to say, like, where's the best place to put the bees, right? And the plant acacia and to put the bees. And so we get up there, girl, they've already started planting acacia. Already started planting
Really?
acacia. And I mean, so what they did was they took our I hate to say expertise because that feels like a brag, and it's not. I'm not an expert at it, but they took what I did know, the knowledge that I did have, and they started just using it and planting their own trees in different places. And so our beekeeper, he was just telling them what made sense, why this might work and why this definitely will not work. He gave them information that otherwise that they would have had to pay for, because it was actually like consulting, right? Or it was consulting. We didn't ask for payment for consulting because again, I was still on
The
the
partnership.
partnership tip.
Yeah.
And but the question kept coming to my mind, like, where do we fit? So that just made the question even bigger in my head, right? So when we went to have lunch, I asked.
Yeah.
And so the CEO was just like, well, we want your design, we want your packaging. So so we're talking about, okay, okay, just so we can all get an understanding.
Mhm.
It takes years for acacia trees to grow and be mature enough for the bees to pollinate the flowers. Okay,
Mhm.
so we're talking about 3 or 4 years in most cases, right? So he wants us later to market his product, which he wants to sell to us, by the way.
Hmm.
So so I gotta make sure I'm making sense. He gave us 2 options. We plant all the trees that he had not planted yet on the land, put the beehives in, and he charges us for that, that parcel of land or whatever, or he does that work, and then he sells us the honey so we can then he sells it to us at wholesale price, and then we can, get our honey out there, He'll become our distributor versus who we have already, right?
Mm.
Um, and and so those were 2 options he gave, and then he started talking about, like, designing and marketing his product. And that is not how the conversation began.
Wow.
And, I was so annoyed. So when we left out, Ben and I were talking about it. Jason was there too. We was talking about it. And we just understood that they had no intention of doing business with the African Bee Company. What they
Mm.
wanted was what they got from us.
Your knowledge.
Yeah. So, like our brother Hap said, because I was hot. There's certain I'm
I
going.
know you were.
I was hot. The next day, I was like talking junk, and
Yeah.
I called brother Hap, and he was like, "All right, so we got at least 3 years to to make sure our product.
That's a good perspective.
Yeah, he helped a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a good way to turn it
I
around.
needed somebody to bring me down, right? Bring it back down. Yeah, so trust is the issue. And it's funny because later I met a young lady who was talking about doing business here. She's a doctor, and she does some Chinese acupuncture or whatever.
Okay.
And, so she and I were talking about, doing business here, and she mentioned how people will take your idea.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. And I'm like and I'm just looking at her like, how does she know what happened to me last week? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because
Wow.
she just, because sometimes I feel like, "Man, am I just being paranoid about stuff, or is this really happening?" Well, you know what? It really happened, and then she came along and confirmed that it happens. Okay, and it happens kind of often, and
Yep.
so it was a lesson learned, right? And actually, something good came out of it because the Most High, the word says that he will turn all things work together for our good, right?
Yes. For those that love
And
him, yes. Mhm.
so that's how the Hebrew Thrive Collective came about, out of
Mm.
me being pissed off,
Yes.
and then I had read somewhere somebody calls us the dumb tribe.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Wait,
seriously?
who?
It was on
Who?
one of the social platforms that
Like the expats from
yeah,
expats or the dumb
yeah, the
tribe?
expert, yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, so, and we know this is not everybody.
That's true, it's not
Right,
everybody.
it's not everybody. I'm just sharing something that happened. We're just sharing something that happened, family. It's not every single person, okay? So, and I thought about the dumb tribe. Whoever said that may consider us dumb because we're coming to the continent. We feel like we're coming home, right? Many of us feel like we're
Mm,
coming home, but yet we are generations away
mm,
from home, right? Like
mhm,
we haven't it's like a strange land and a familiar land at once. And I don't it's like a memory. And
mm,
everybody, but a lot of people here doesn't see us as family because we're so removed. Like I said,
mm,
we're generations away. And so a lot of people don't see us as family, but they see us as, I think we talked about it one time, like a walking ATM.
mm,
They see us as money. And they see us as people that can be taken advantage of because we feel like we're coming back to the motherland,
mm,
and our hearts are open. We want to do business. The people here. We want to share our expertise, our knowledge, our wisdom, and we want theirs as well. It's not like it's reciprocal, right? However, what I found so far is in some cases we've been pouring out
mm,
and we haven't been receiving. And you can't do business that way.
mm-mm,
That's not business. That's charity.
mm.
But
Ooh,
but so that's something that happened. Of course, it's not the entire experience of living here or doing business here, but trust is an issue. It's an issue. And not to say it's not an issue in the West, because we know that it is. It's just like I would say from my perspective, I knew more who my enemy was in the West,
mm,
But here, I don't know. I don't know until they prove themselves to be my enemy, right? Because they look like me or I look like them. So, yeah, that mindset, if any of that made sense.
it does. Janie, this is so interesting because I was literally just talking to Jason about this the other day. And once again, I am not a business expert. I'm, I'm more of like a relationship, you know, people like, my background is in psychology, so I always wonder why people do what they do, and, I'm always trying to figure people out, and I was talking to Jason the other day, and I said, "Doing business with people here is a lot like dating." Let me explain. So, when you think about where your mind is when you're dating, you meet somebody, right? And you're like, "Oh my gosh, like, we hit it right off, like, this was the best date ever, like, we have so much in common, we really vibe together, I've never laughed so hard in my life," like, fill in the blanks, like, "This was just a great meeting, I think he's the one." After you met them once, "I think he's the one." Right? I used to think like that. Like, "Oh my gosh, she's the one," you know? And then we'd be dating for a week, and then I find something out, and I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know about that anymore. I'm moving on," right? So, the idea is when you meet somebody for the first time, there might be a lot of things that you like about that person. You could see a lot of possibilities. You can see the potential, right? And when you start thinking about all the potentials, you come into this ideal of like, this is how successful we're going to be together, right? And you think about it from a business perspective, like, wow, they have what I need. I have what they need. This is an excellent partnership. And you start thinking, you start creating this movie in your head, like, all the ideas of like, oh, this is how to work and this is how we could really play off one another. And you start creating something and out of that comes this expectation of how this other person is going to respond and how they're going to interact with you and your business. And then over time, they show themselves, right? They show their true character. And like what you just shared is extremely valuable, especially people coming here trying to do business. Because that's if you want to come to Africa, if you want to come to Rwanda specifically or other places, I can't speak for every place, but my understanding is when you come over here, you want to think about what can I give, right? Like what can I create? What business can I start? What can I contribute? And I think, when you think about doing business here, you have to really understand that it's a different culture. And I think it's really interesting, when you talk about coming home, when you talk about like the generations removed. African Americans, this is the homeland, but it's generations removed. It's still culturally very different people, African American versus the Africans that are living here. And of course, the Africans have gone through their own experiences with colonialism and things like that. But when you come to do business, it's almost like you have to learn the culture, you have to learn the people. And similar to dating, like, you might meet somebody that is amazing, but still you gotta give it time. You gotta allow themselves to show themselves. Like, can't just take their word for it. You gotta see how they act. When I talk about dating in general, you're like, "Okay, how do they treat the mom? How do they treat the server when you guys go out to eat? Do they tip well?" Well, I think that's a state concept, but, just seeing how they behave and how they carry themselves, and only time can tell.
Absolutely. And one of the blessings, in this story is that he showed himself pretty quick. He showed himself pretty quickly.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
that's one of the
mm.
blessings. And again, it's just part of the learning curve. It's like it caused anger, yeah, but I think more than that, it made me sad,
Mm, mm,
you know? But it
mhm.
was a lesson. And I remember my business mentor, she would often say, "You have to build community."
And that takes time.
And that right, and that does take time. And again, another blessing that came out of it was the Hebrew Thrive Collective, right?
Right.
Where business-minded people and community-minded people come
Mhm,
together, right? And we do business with one another. So
mhm,
it's new, we're growing, and I remember, you know, when all this was happening, how the Most High gave me that idea, and I'm just like, "Just let him do it."
mm,
I set up the platform, we're having discussions that are meaningful.
Mhm.
And we know that Greenard Farms has, fruit and vegetables
Mhm.
organically grown.
Mhm.
Okay, so if we
Mhm.
want some fruits and vegetables, we know where to go.
Mhm.
If we want some baked goods, we know we can go to Mizi's Cafe. If you want some honey, you come to African Bee.
Mhm.
You know, my husband does the glass with, the vinyl on it to help
Mm.
build business,
Mhm.
right? I mean, we just have and not to mention, our veterinarian, Dr. Great.
Mhm.
I mean, we just had I don't wanna leave anyone out, and that's what happens when you try to list everyone, right?
Yeah.
But, and I wanna say we even have, a digital asset expert and Fast Nickel,
Mhm.
as a part of the group. So we have people are coming together and we're growing community as a result of what happened
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
this company. It literally put a crack in my heart, and it's a
Yeah.
shame, but it's part of the growing pains.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful though, uh, just the fact that, that you're feeling the way that you feel because, not getting into it too much, but I can only wonder, the people that live here, they're this is their livelihood. How many expats have come in promising one thing and never delivering on their
Mm,
promise? People who have come to do business and taken advantage of, you know, their work. How many expats have come and hired people to do work and they're putting their heart and soul into this job only for them to get fired the next day and then they gotta figure out where they're gonna stay. And I'm thinking about I know who I'm talking about, but, like, she's not the only one, right?
right,
So, I think on one hand, when you think about why people do what they do and, like, the psychology perspective and behavior, why should people trust us? Why when we're coming in, do they even know who they're talking to? And that's why I think it's beautiful, the fact that you responded, that this scenario made you sad, like this experience made you sad, and it motivated you to create something because we want to set a standard of like how are we going to do business, and we want to do business with integrity and with excellence on both ends, right?
absolutely,
Like we can't ask people to do business with us in a certain way if we can't do it.
absolutely, I
Right?
agree.
So I love that. I love that you created the Hebrew Thrive Collective, and maybe you can kind of share in a few words like what the Hebrew Thrive Collective actually is.
Okay, well, we are a community of like-minded people, business-wise, and, let me say this too, we're not all expats. Some
That's
of us
true.
right.
That's true.
We're
We're not
not
all
all
expats.
expats, so it's not a divisive community. We're not saying, "Oh, you can't come unless you're an expat." No, but we're a
Mm,
group of people who wanna do business, as you just stated, with integrity. We wanna do business with excellence and with integrity. We wanna contribute to the culture, the society that we live in, and we also don't wanna be ripped off,
exactly. Yeah.
okay? When I think about the Hebrew Thrive Collective, and the goals, I mean, really, I wanted to just be able to do business with people who care about other people.
Mm,
you know, who are not gonna, like, try to take advantage of other people, whether it's an expat or whether it's a local,
mhm.
you know? I just wanna be honest in my interaction. I wanted that to be the mindset of the group. So that's basically what it is, a place where people can come and trust that they're being treated fairly.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. And it's been, and Hebrew Thrive Collective has only been active for like a month or so.
Yeah,
And
real
it's
baby.
really, I already feel the connection, with other people. It's been really kind of fun getting to know people, getting to know what they have to offer business wise. And it's been refreshing, to be honest, knowing that you can do business with people who are going to give you a straightforward response and they're going to be very straightforward with even their prices and how much they charge for something. And then I can only see something good like this just growing and becoming better. And I can only imagine if people are, because there's so many people who want to move here, to move to Africa, and they're trying to make it work in their heads. Like, what are we going to do? Who are we going to talk to? So, anybody listening to the podcast and you want to know more about the Hebrew Thrive Collective, please feel free to email Janie at the Her Story, My Story podcast at gmail.com. We will put it in the show notes, and I'm sure Janie will be happy to answer those questions. All right, y'all, we got to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to sharing more stories from Africa, about our experiences here, and interviewing people who are here on the continent with us. So, once again, thank you for joining us today. Please feel free to leave a comment and also like, share with your friends and your family. We appreciate all the love and support that you guys have for us. So, with that, we are out of here. Shalom, fam.